Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, today we're going to pick up something quite interesting, but potentially problematic. You see, I've agreed to buy a late 2009 Land Rover Freelander 2, which I rate, by the way, I think they're pretty good cars, for just £300. Now before you think, that's rubbish, mate, you've never paid £300 for a 2009 Freelander. Well, I have, I promise you. But it's cheap for a reason. I'm told it might have a blown head gasket. Now I wouldn't normally buy a car like this, but I thought for £300, can't really go wrong, can I? I've already called J Davison, by the way, just to see what it's worth in scrap, just to see what it's worth for its weight, basically. And they offered me £280 in scrap, so I thought, well, for £20, this is a gamble that I'm willing to take. It's a 2.2 turbo diesel, which are quite a decent engine. I've never had any head gasket issues with that 2.2. That's why I'm just finding it hard to believe that this one has a blown gasket. And on top of that, it's only done 110,000 miles, so it's not like it's been to the moon and back. I can't really get my head around it. The old 2.2 litre engine's usually pretty reliable, so I'd be quite surprised if it has blown its head gasket. I don't think it's a common issue. I've certainly never had that issue before, but there's a first time for everything, isn't there? What I'm hoping for here, guys, is that this has been misdiagnosed. Now, I don't know the symptoms. I don't know whether it's overheating. I don't know whether it's got coolant in with the oil. I really don't know. This might sound a bit naive, but I didn't ask too many questions. I thought for £300, let me just take a chance. What we're going to do then today is head down there. I'll go and drive it, keep my eye on the temp gauge. Maybe I'll do some checks first and just see if there's any mayonnaise under the oil filler cap, that sort of thing. Because this could be a failed water pump, I don't know, a thermostat, there could be a leak on one of the coolant hoses, I really don't know, but it might not be terminal. Maybe, fingers crossed. Should we go and have a look, put ourselves out of our misery? I'll see you there. If I can stop this car from beeping. Well, we're here, and you know, bear in mind I hadn't seen this car. It looks all right. It's the TD4 rather than the SD4, which is a slightly lower horsepower, 2.2. It was supplied by Dace Specialist Car Centre in Stockport originally. It's from Anglia. We've got an A plate, AJ Tracy, live and direct. It's green with a beige interior. That looks quite nice. Like typical Land Rover colours, really. I mean, the bodywork isn't the best. There are a few scuffs and stuff on it, but listen, I paid £300 for this. That actually looks all right. I'm hoping I can save this. I don't like scrapping cars. Yeah, there are a few dents on the rear door, but might be able to knock those back into shape. Well, not me, you know, the lads from Dents. Front tyres look like they're on the limit. Yeah, that's not too bad though, really. I'm quite looking forward to seeing whether this has got a blown head gasket or not. Right, as always then, let me do a vehicle history check using Car Vertical. So, all we're going to do is go to carvertical.com. And that takes you to the home page, and then you type in the VIN or the reg. Now in this case we know it is AJ59 Victor November Mike. Check vehicle. What this does, it checks database in 35 different countries. So it'll tell us whether it's ever been stolen, written off, had a mileage rollback, or has outstanding finance on it. Sadly, it won't tell us if the head gasket's blown, but I'll have to try and figure that out for myself. If you want to do these checks for yourself, by the way, and I urge you to do so before you hand over any cash for a used car or motorbike, don't forget to use my promo code HIGHPEAK. That's HIGHPEAK, all one word, and you'll save yourself 20% off each and every check that you do. It's as simple as that. Right, just like that, the report's ready. So, view report. So it's never been clocked. Like I say, I think it's done around 110,000 miles. There's no outstanding finance, which is good. No recorded accident damage, and it's never been stolen. That's all good. Someone sold me a 6 for a 9 here then, because it is last MOT in February, it's done 117,000 miles, not 110. But at £300, I can't kick up a stink, can I really? It's fairly consistent every year though. It's only done 6,000 miles, 3,000 miles. It's quite an easy life than this. Surely the head gasket can't be blown. Surely not. The average market price for such a vehicle, you ready for this? £6,457. It's a 2009 2.2 diesel automatic. This gets better. In green. It's a 6-speed. So it was manufactured in October 09, registered October 09, failed its first MOT, that's not great news. Let's go down to its most recent one then in February. The last owner bought it in 2018, and on its last MOT there wasn't a single advisory item. It's too good to be true, this, isn't it? Let's go and have a look then. Now, I'm not a mechanic, but I do know a little bit. Let's go and see if the head gasket's blown, shall we? Well, let's take a look at this then. Like I say, it's a good colour. Some of these marks on the rear bumper actually would clean off. You could touch those in carefully. I'm getting ahead of myself here, aren't I? I think with a good buff as well, a lot of these marks, I mean, this has had a rural life. Up and down narrow roads against hedges. We've got a broken wing mirror there. It looks all right though, doesn't it? Getting quite excited about this. We've got matching plates. The headlamps don't need a buff. We're all good there. I know you're worried. I think some of that dent will improve. We could pop that back in. Just have a look in the back there. It is filthy. I think it's been used as a bit of a builder's truck, this. We've got a roadstone tyre on that side. Right, we have got 2 keys as well, but one's broken. So I've left that in the car. We've got matching gaffer tape here, the wing mirrors. That little key cover there is missing from the door handle. It's fairly standard. We've got a dent there on the front wing, but again, that would pop out. I think with a few £100 spent on this car, you could transform this. Let's see if the... We're in luck. So this then is an HSE model, I think, because we've got a leather interior, a sunroof, we've got power folding mirrors. Yeah, I do rate these. We've got a missing roof rail here. I'll have to try and get hold of one of those. Inside then, it's filthy. We're missing headrests. Car seats look really strange without headrests, don't they? Don't you reckon? It's filthy. It is absolutely filthy. No expense spared there. We've got the, we don't have the original mats, I'm afraid, but we've got a, what looks like a welcome mat that's been hacked up. But we've got electric memory seats. We've got lots of cobwebs, spider webs. Move around the back there. Press this button again. There we go. It's filthy. But it could... Oh, the headrests are there. That's a result. I was already planning my eBay shopping spree, but they're right there. This would clean up all right, I think. Treat it to a set of genuine rubber mats or something. Get it properly valeted. Clean the carpets. Get some grease down that squeak. We need a parcel shelf, don't we? Need a spare wheel because that's missing. Yeah, it's just been used as a builder's truck. Got roll plugs and screws and all sorts of stuff. But there is a car under all this filth. This is what excites me most. Typical Land Rover door locks, probably. Yeah, that's not working. Nope. This era Freelander and the same with the Evokes, they always suffer with bad door latches. Well, the passenger seat motor works, that's good. Well, this being the HSE, we'll have, oh, there we go, heated seats. This is all right, this. Nice wood trim. We've got a book pack. Let's see if this has been maintained. Is there a service book? Navigation. Warranty benefits. And no service book. What do you want for £300, really? Right, let's have a look. Oh, Alpine surround sound as well. That was the tyre that I saw that I thought was close to the limit, but it's actually not too bad. There's a couple of mil left on that. This would be transformed, you know, with a very good clean. But let's see how bad the mechanical issues are first, shall we? Right. Where should we start then? I mean, it all looks very tidy under here. There's no corrosion. Chassis legs are straight. Never had a whack. Let's pull the dipstick out and see if there's any mayonnaise. Well, that all looks all right, doesn't it? It's black, like it hasn't had a service for a while, but then again, it is a diesel. Change the oil on a diesel and then check the level and it'll be black immediately. Right, what I'm looking for here then is any signs of mayonnaise. We're all good. Because of course, when the gasket blows and the coolant mixes with the oil, then you get all this sort of mayonnaise looking residue on the top, but that's fine. Coolant, let's have a look at this. Just undo this. Definitely wearing the wrong colour top for this, aren't I? Well, weirdly, that's all right. We're going to have to fire it up, aren't we, and see. So it's automatic. Right, let me put my armrest down. Found a little conker. Anyway, right, let me put my seat down because I'm going to get a nosebleed at this sort of height. Whenever I'm adjusting a seat like this and it's taken a while, I'm always reminded of that scene in Phoenix Nights with Brian Potter. All the things I'm going to do to you. Right, so let me try and fire this up. Key goes in there. Foot on brake. Right, now that sounds like a bag of nails, doesn't it? But they always do. This old 2.2 litre engine is quite reliable, but they always sound really rough. Steering column locked, what's all that about? I don't know what that means. Steering column locked. It's done 120,000 miles. Now I know this doesn't matter, but let's just whack the air conditioning on, see if that works. Get rid of this piece of paper under my feet because it's annoying me. Try the aircon. Now, of course, if this has got a blown head gasket, what I would expect straight away is for the heater not to work, perhaps. That's another sort of symptom. Just keeping an eye on the temp gauge. The air conditioning works, you know. What do I do with this next? I think what I'm going to have to do is go for a little drive in it. You want to come with me? Go for a little drive and see whether it breaks down on me. See whether it overheats. Windows work. Passenger side front is a little bit noisy, but it works. This could be made into a car. I mean, even if the head gasket's gone, what's that going to cost me? 600 quid, 700 quid maybe? Get that done. There might be a car under all this. Right, let me go and stick my trade plates in the window and we'll take it for a quick spin. Right, so let's go and take this for a drive then. And we'll just see. Fingers crossed. I can't, well, I don't, no, I'm not even going to say it. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to jinx it. Steering column locks, I don't know what that means. We've got a dodgy sensor somewhere. Forgot my sunglasses. All right, safety first then. This could be a massive money pit, this car. However, parking sensors work, don't they, on the bright side? I think we'll do a few laps of the village then, and we'll just keep my eye on the temp gauge. I would expect this, if it has got a blown gasket, just to rock it, just to shoot right up, but we'll see. I mean, so far, I've only driven 100 yards in it, but it's driving all right. Temp gauge is moving from blue. We're about 10% of the way up here. We're doing all right. You know what? It feels all right. It feels quite solid. Gearbox is working. Turbo's engaging. I do like these cars, you know, as I've mentioned previously. So far, so good. Apart from this annoying warning about the steering column locked. I don't really know what that means. Can't believe the air conditioning works. You know, when you look at a car as scruffy as this, you really wouldn't expect the aircon to be ice cold. I thought I was going to have a load of spiders drop me then, like some sort of bush tucker trial. Don't really trust that. Right, my elastic's gone in my blind. It did have a rubber lining, but I think it's perished. Radio 2. Right, my temp gauge has gone straight to halfway. That didn't take very long. Didn't take very long at all. An old diesel engine like this would probably take about half an hour to reach temp, so that's a little bit suspicious. We're at halfway now. What I was going to do actually was just leave this for a mini valet. I know it might be a waste of £10, but at least we could see under all the filth, couldn't we? And of course, while they're vacuuming it out, it might take 40 minutes or something of it running, just to see whether it, you know, explodes or not. Sorry for the silence, I'm just in deep thought. We've got half a tank of diesel even. This is all right, this. 300 quid. Does my sat nav work? Certainly does, look at that. Right. The engine's sort of smoothed right out now as well. You know what's weird? There's no warning light for low coolant. Now I know on Discovery 3s and 4s they love to ping on a light for low coolant. So I thought this would have done already, had it been low, but it obviously isn't. I mean, it looked alright in the reservoir. It was right on max where it should be. I don't know what else I can tell you really. It drives alright. Engine seems fine, gearbox seems fine. We're not overheating. We're sitting pretty here at halfway. We're alright. Go on then, I'll let you go. I'm just any second now expecting this temperature gauge just to go completely off the scale, but it's not doing. I wonder who diagnosed this and why. That's the weird thing. Somebody's decided to scrap this and sell it cheaply because they suspect the head gasket had blown, and if it hasn't, I don't know what's gone awry. You know what, we haven't even got a single warning light on, apart from the steering column locked message. We haven't got an engine light on, a flashing glow plug light, ABS light, nothing like that at all. No warning triangles whatsoever. We're not far now from the car wash. What I'm thinking of doing is just leave it there. I'm just going to leave it, maybe explain just to, you know, keep your eye on the temp gauge. In fact, I might just crank the heat. I'll crank the heat up. This is the thing actually, what you should do if you've got an overheating engine, if your water pump's failed or something like that, lower the windows, crank the heater on, and just try and sort of get rid of, dissipate some of that heat. I think dissipate's the right word. We're all right though, so far. Got slightly dodgy power steering there. I think it's haunted. I'm not touching that at all. I had that with the last one that I took up to Ben Nevis. It cost me a rack and a pump and all sorts of stuff. I spent about £1,200 on that car. Will I get through this gap? It's a bit tight. There we go. Right, well, I'm going to leave this here. Firstly though, I'm going to crank the heat on. Let me see if this gets hot. Right, there is one fault here then. I've just turned the heater right up to hot and it isn't getting hot. Which is indicative of a head gasket. Remember I had a Jeep Grand Cherokee once in Spain many years ago. It was a 1997 Grand Cherokee. And that had the old 2.5 litre turbo diesel engine, which is prone for blowing its head gasket. Sure enough, it had. I had it over winter there and the heater never got warm. Eventually I fixed it and it cost me about €1,800 or something. Anyway. No, that's definitely not hot. Well, I'm still kind of none the wiser. Right, I'm going to leave this for a mini valet then, which I'll no doubt get shouted at because it's disgusting. I wouldn't want to clean this car out for a tenner, I must admit. I think it's beyond that. They'll probably charge me more, but that's fine. And then I'll resume this video shortly. Hopefully. Well, we'll see. We'll see if it's boiled over. I'm going to get a call, aren't I, saying, "Oh, Matt, your car is on fire." We'll see. I hope that isn't the case. Well, I've got some good news and some bad news. The good news is I now have a very clean Freelander 2. It's cleaned up really well. I mean, do you remember the state of the wheels before? And the interior? It was a complete mess. And now look at it. Just as I'd hoped, it cleaned up really well. Do you remember how filthy the boot was? Take a look at this. You could eat your dinner off that carpet. It's very clean though now, isn't it? The lads at the car wash did have a whinge though. He said, Matt, we can't charge you for a mini valet, we spent a day on it. All right, bill me accordingly. You're probably wondering then what the bad news is. Well, it's boiled over like a saucepan on the stove. I just thought here was quite a nice spot to come and, admire the view and wait for it to cool down. I'm a bit gutted really, because I was hoping this was going to be a simple fix, but it turns out it does have a blown head gasket, sadly. Now, interestingly, I was discussing this car with my colleague Steve. Now, you'll have seen Steve in several other videos. He does my editing and all that sort of stuff. And he's in the market for something like this. He wanted a cheap family SUV, basically, because the cars he has at the moment, well, they're not as practical. So I mentioned my very cheap Freelander 2, and his ears pricked up. So I think what he's going to do, he's going to pay me the £300 that I paid for the car, so I'm not out of pocket. Well, apart from the mini valet, of course. And then he's going to take it over to the lads at Transformotion. He's fairly confident that Andy and Liam can sort the head gasket out on this fairly cheaply. I was guessing, I've had head gaskets done on other cars before, and it can be anywhere from £500 to £1,500, depending on the model. So I said to Steve, even if you spent £1,000 on this car, it's a very cheap car, and it should do the job. I mean, it's done 120,000 miles. It's a nice spec. It drives very well. Air conditioning works, as we know. So I think that's the best course of action, really. Yeah, that's still rather warm. So I think that's the best outcome, really. That would please me most, because then we've saved another car, we haven't scrapped it. Thinking about it, Steve'd be happy because he's got himself a bargain. I'm happy because I haven't scrapped a Land Rover and I'm not out of pocket. So it's kind of a win-win. And I think the lads over at Dents will be happy because I'm keeping them in work. Is that dented? No. I think it is, you know. No, we're good. We're good. Right, well, on that note, thank you once again for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. I'll leave the link below. And yeah, cheers, guys. See you next time.